I came to the study of virtue as a psychologist, so that's the take I have on it. And in my training as a psychologist, I was trained to think about psychology as the science of human behavior. And the way to approach that for most psychologists is to look at the causal features or causal factors that lead to certain kinds of behaviors as outputs. I found that really unacceptable, unconvincing, because it's clear to me that we do a lot of things for reasons. Things are meaningful to us. We pursue goals that we choose. And so I needed a way to look at this that allowed me to incorporate agency and purpose. So I found that in a number of philosophical works, particularly Aristotle. And for the last 20 years or so, I've been developing what I call a psychological eudaimonic theory. And the focus of that follows Aristotle fairly closely in that he saw human beings as reasoning social creatures. And so in those two large categories, what you find are a set of characteristic human goods, things that pretty much everybody can recognize as worthwhile, even though we might pursue those goods in slightly different forms and in slightly different ways. So the goods are very kind of normal everyday things like knowledge, justice, friendship, belonging, and so forth. And so the things that we really care about and the things that make life worth living. And so my view of Aristotle is that he thought that eudaimonia was having these goods active in one's life, to be in touch with them in an ongoing way. And in order to be able to pursue these goods, we need virtues, because they're the sort of things that we need to pursue in a consistent way over time, and to have the right kind of character strengths or excellences to be able to do it. So for example, as a scientist, if I'm interested in pursuing knowledge, then I must have the virtues of honesty and patience, or I won't be able to reach that aim. Or let's say if I am interested in belonging to a group, being a good member of the group, I need to be capable of the virtue of friendship and the virtue of loyalty in order to maintain those ties. So, and then the other part of my project is looking at some of the features of virtues, and these are actually very psychologically relevant. So the things like knowing what you're doing, being aware of what it is to have a virtue, being properly motivated, having it integrated in who you are as a person, also doing things habitually. And so these are the kind of things that psychologists study all the time, but I apply that psychological study to the virtues. And my research team and I have been doing theory and empirical research for many years now to try to flesh this theory out and to get a better picture, a psychologically realistic picture of how it is people can be virtuous, how it is people can flourish. So we've studied topics like goal pursuit, and in pursuing goals, that's an ordinary, everyday way of talking about pursuing goods. So we have a goal to read a book, might contribute to knowledge. We have a goal to spend time with our friend, contributes to friendship, and so forth. We've also studied other topics like romantic relationships, cultural competence or multiculturalism from a virtue ethics point of view. We've studied psychotherapy, family therapy, and right now we're involved in two different areas. One is taking a look at evolutionary science from an Aristotelian point of view and really trying to reconstrue evolutionary ethics, which is badly in need of reconstrual. And also we have several projects going where we're investigating specific virtues. Like kindness and justice and friendship are the ones we're pursuing right now. So this is the work that we're doing, and it's really easy to see that there's a tremendous overlap in content with the Jubilee Centre. So when I heard about the work that was happening here, I was very excited to be able to be a part of it, even in a small way. It's been a delight for the last few years to be here and to meet the people who are doing this work. I'm very impressed by what they're doing. And the way I see my work fitting into it is I think the Jubilee Centre has some excellent philosophers who are doing great philosophy. I'm not a philosopher, so I think that that's an excellent contribution. I draw on their work frequently and make use of it. And then they have a number of people who are doing applied research. So they're looking into schools, they're looking in the military, they're trying to help people in the professions to do a better job with what they do. So I see myself as in the middle of that, like mid-range theory, where we have the philosophers doing really basic work and outlining concepts and figuring out how to think best about virtue, and then we have people doing research. I'm doing the theory that fits in the middle there and can help inform the research and guide it, as well as doing research myself. So I see it as actually a great fit.